عصف الأنين بداخلي كم مرة قد ذاق قلبي من أساه رحلا تمر وكم كرهت مصابها لكن رأيت الخير يسكب في أنا كم مرة قد ضقت من عظم البلاء.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين ما بعد. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Again, almost 1 year to the day when we had a discussion with Shamsi regarding the mas'ala of khuruj, and once again we're back to square one. I'm sure this particular video today would incite certain emotions, and rightfully so, considering the topic, and as you're all aware what the topic is about, regarding the beloved of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Hussain bin Ali radiyallahu anhuma. What we find, and this is no exaggeration, honestly speaking, that those proponents or those components within the so-called Salafi da'wah, and again, when I mean Salafi da'wah, there is no problems as far as I'm concerned with the da'wah as a whole, but rather those who claim and those who think that they're adhering to the Salafi da'wah, what in essence is neo-Salafism, without sort of trying to elaborate and go into a sort of a extensive definition of the actual term. But what we find is claimants to the Salafi da'wah, where in essence is rooted, and as I said this before, and I don't want to sort of go back and forth with this term, but they love to defend what I call the Vatican. Now the Madakhila and the Super Salafis in essence enforce their da'wah and promote their da'wah in line with Saudi Arabia. So whatever direction Saudi Arabia will go, meaning their masters, they would follow that same direction, and they'll try to justify it with religious texts. They'll try to add religious legitimacy for it. This is why we call them slaves of the rulers. Now, the predicament that they have now is that we proved, and I don't want to get into the actual mas'ala of khuruj. I think I've sort of nipped that in the bud. It's clear. Many brothers have benefited from the series. There's a 6-7 hour playlist. Go check it out. It's on my playlist. I think it's called Response to the Madakhil and Their Like. I've done many videos. I think up to about 7 hours worth. The matter is clear as night and day. So let's leave that to one side. Now, with this issue that they've got, many notable companions and esteemed companions rebelled against the rulers of their time. So, with the Madakhila and the Super Salafis, they treat this matter as a matter of creed. So they treat this matter as a creedal matter. So they now have an issue on their hands. So what that would insinuate is that some companions didn't understand creed. So when the Prophet ﷺ said, do not rebel against the rulers, etc., this was a matter of creed from the moment those statements left the blessed mouth of the Prophet ﷺ. So how do they explain that many companions and tabi'un, who they use the hadith, خَيْرُ قُرُونِ كَرْنِي ثُمَّ الَّذِينَ يَلُونَهُمْ ثُمَّ الَّذِينَ يَلُونَهُمْ, that the best generation, my generation, the one after that, the one after that. So if they're the best generation and they understood the deen the best, how could they have rebelled? Because this is, as they like to say, the hadith is clear. So was it not clear for them? And if they are insinuate is clear, then did they have deficiencies in creed? So I don't want to get to that. And it's proven without a shadow of a doubt that Hussain radhiyallahu anhu did khuruj. Not from Hajji's testimony, not from Hajji's mouth. We're going to prove it from many classical scholars and what they've said about his khuruj, about his revolt. Was he upon the truth? Was he mistaken? Because it's quite clear that Hussain radhiyallahu anhu was upon the truth. No doubt about that. He did not make a mistake. So Shamsi, unfortunately, he's now malfunctioning. He's thinking, hold on here. How do I now defend or answer or counter the fact that Hussain radhiyallahu anhu did khuruj? We carry the position of many esteemed classical scholars that Hussain radhiyallahu anhu was upon the truth. He did not make a mistake when he rebelled against Yazeed. Did not make a mistake at all. But Shamsi, unfortunately, because he has to defend his masters at whatever cost, he would throw notable companions under the bus. Shamsi and the Madakhila and the Super Salafis, because their whole da'wah and their whole methodology is to defend Saudi Arabia, their masters, at all cost, because they're slaves, they're institutionalized slaves. They have no problem in uttering utter disrespect and malicious statements. What we're going to do now is present such a statement.
He mentioned about Ibn Qudama categorized those who rebel against the leader into 4 categories. Then he mentioned الصنف الرابع. He mentioned the 4th category قوم من أهل الحق يخرجون عن قبضة الإمام ويرومون خلعه لتأويل سائغ وفيهم منعة يحتاج في كفهم إلى جمع الجيش شفاء هؤلاء البغاة. He mentioned that people from among the people of truth rebel against the leader and they want to remove him because of تأويل سائغ. And they are strong and the leader needs to gather an army to fight against them. And they are the bughat. Who is a bughat? Transgressors. And he goes on here, he stopped Hajji al-Kadhab. Then Ibn Qudama goes on to say, it's upon the people وواجب على الناس معونة إمام في قتال البغاة. It's upon the people to aid the leader to fight against the transgressors. Why? He mentioned because ولأنهم لو تركوا في معونته لو تركوا معونته لقهره أهل البغي وظهر الفساد في الأرض. Because if the people left him without any hope, then those who rebelled against him, they will overpower him and the corruption will spread out upon the earth. So clearly Ibn Qudama, may Allah have mercy upon him, saying here that you have to, and the worst thing, my brothers and sisters, that Hajji al-Jahil, he wants to explain what Ibn Qudama meant. He said the likes of those who rebelled against Yazeed and al-Hajjaj and so on. But he said here you should fight against, with the leader against them.
Now if you didn't notice, Shamsi said something quite shocking, and what he was concealing inside his heart as to how he views the khuruj of Hussain radiallahu anhu and those who rebelled against Yazeed and others actually came out. And he said something quite shocking. He misunderstood the statement of Ibn Qudama al-Maqdisi, first and foremost. We're going to expose him on that. But he said something that I want to bring your attention to again. And I'm going to focus on that particular statement. So I'm going to play it back a couple of times as well. So have a listen.
My brothers and sisters, that Hajji al-Jahil, he wants to explain what Ibn Qudama meant. He said the likes of those who rebelled against Yazeed and al-Hajjaj and so on. But he said here you should fight against, with the leader against them. But he said here you should fight against, with the leader against them.
If you didn't understand what he said, let me explain it. Let me break it down. He said Hajji the Jahil tried to explain what Ibn Qudama al-Maqdisi said. And he said, like those who rebelled against Yazeed and those who rebelled against Hajjaj, that we should fight with the leader against them. So when he mentioned that those who rebelled against Yazeed and those who rebelled against Hajjaj, those who rebelled against Yazeed, first and foremost was Hussain radiallahu anhu, and then the Battle of Harra. We're going to get to the Battle of Harra later. So he said that those who rebelled against Yazeed, I'm going to actually play back, this was about 10 months ago, but I'm going to actually play back what I really said, where he basically misconstrued what I said anyway. But what was inside his heart actually came out. He said, and Ibn Qudama didn't say it, I'm going to present that quote as well, that you should fight with Yazeed against Hussain radiallahu anhu. Shamsi believes that those who rebelled against Yazeed, you should join the Imam to fight against them. Did you hear that quite clearly? Let's play it again.
But he said here you should fight against, with the leader against them.
We should fight with the leader against them. So Shamsi, you didn't want to get it out, did you, mate? You didn't want to get it out, but it came out without you even realizing. You believe Hussain radiallahu anhu should have been fought. You actually believe that. That is an absolute atrocious statement to make. Ibn Qudama al-Maqdisi didn't even say that, mate. Now, what you're implying is that Hussain radiallahu anhu is a transgressor, that bughat, transgressor. And then when you mention that those who fought against Yazeed and those who fought against Hajjaj, but Ibn Qudama, this is your statement by the way, we're going to play, I'm going to quote Ibn Qudama's words as they are. You said you should fight with the leader against them. So you are absolutely convinced, and with your methodology, that Hussain radiallahu anhu deserved to be fought. Hussain radiallahu anhu was mistaken. So because he rebelled, Yazeed had the God-given right to go and fight Hussain radiallahu anhu. And if you were around at that time, you would have joined the army of Yazeed. Quite clearly, mate. because that's the methodology you carry. Now what I'm going to do is present the actual statement of Ibn Qudama al-Maqdisi. Now Ibn Qudama al-Maqdisi doesn't actually say anything of the sort. This was his explanation. So when he was trying to explain Ibn Qudama's statement, what was deep inside his heart, which he didn't want to let out, he had a moment or a lapsing moment where he just uttered what was in his heart. So he actually believes, when I bring Ibn Qudama's statement, you'll see he had nothing to do with that. You will see. As you can see on screen, you got the book Al-Mughni, okay? And here's the statement. He brings obviously a statement which says that there's four groups that rebel against the leader. Okay, it says the fourth group, the people from amongst the people of truth who rebel against the grasp of the Imam, and they try to remove him with the ta'wil as-sa'iq, with the ta'wil. And he mentions that among them there's a barrier that necessitates for them to gather an army, in their palms, meaning that they try to get as much equipment as possible. And Ibn Qudama said, it is obligatory upon the people to help their Imam in fighting against the rebels, meaning the Bughat, due to what we have mentioned in the beginning of this section. Because if they were to leave off helping their Imam, the rebels will overcome him, meaning overpower him, and there will be tribulations on the earth. Now, I ask you, Shamsi, based upon this statement, your interpretation was that Hussain radiallahu anhu deserves to be fought, and you should aid the Imam. That the Imam at that time was Yazeed. This statement here, mate, doesn't mention anything of Hussain radiallahu anhu. Doesn't mention any specifics. He just made a general statement. People amongst the truth, and you should aid their Imam. Unless you have a categorical statement from Ibn Qudama al-Maqdisi that said Hussain radiallahu anhu should have been fought, and Yazeed was allowed to fight him, and those who were under Yazeed's reign should join him to fight Hussain radiallahu anhu, then you have a point. Ibn Qudama mentions nothing of the sort. Okay? Nothing of the sort. So what I'm going to do now is, I'm going to play for you what I actually said. Okay? What I actually said, that he misconstrued my words and misrepresented me. I didn't mention anything that he mentioned. Let's listen to what I said 10 months ago. So they go out, they're the people of Haqq, but they go out because of a ta'wil that they do. They make an interpretation as to why they go out rebel. It could be dhulm, could be oppression, could be tyranny, it could be that their loved ones are, or the community has been oppressed, the province has been oppressed, they've been killed, they've been slaughtered, like Hajjaj was doing, like Ja'far bin Mansur was doing, like Yazeed was doing, and they went out, they made ta'wil. They didn't go against the text, they made a ta'wil, and Ibn Qudama al-Maqdisi confirmed. And look what he says. After all of this, right at the end, which is highlighted, after confirming that they make, a ta'wil, that the people of Haqq, they go against the Imam, he said, فَهَؤُلَاءِ بُغَاتٍ. They are the Bughat. So as you heard what I mentioned that anyone that rebels with a ta'wil does it because their loved ones are oppressed, there could have been, their province was oppressed, etc. And then I mentioned, as Hajjaj was doing, as Yazeed was doing, as Abu Ja'far bin Mansur was doing. I didn't mention Hussain radiallahu anhu in any of this, as you just witnessed. Did I mention Hussain radiallahu anhu in any of the statement that I mentioned? All I mentioned was the ta'wil. And the ta'wil can be many reasons. I wasn't trying to explain anyone's statement. I said ta'wil. Ta'wil has different interpretations. You could rebel due to whatever issues that you have with the ruler. Just because he's a ruler doesn't give him the God-given right to oppress. And just because there's certain statements, and we're going to get to that later, these statements are to do with having patience. But with khuruj, if you have the ability to, again, this is speculative, isn't it? It's dhanni. If you have this ability, those at the time, like Hussain radiallahu anhu, we're going to get to later, about ability, etc. I didn't mention any of the sort about, those who rebel against Yazeed. I said about oppression of Yazeed, and the oppression of Hajjaj, and the oppression of Abu Ja'far bin Mansur. I didn't mention any specifics. I just said oppression, and they did oppress. What he did was, he turned it round and said, he mentioned those who rebelled against Yazeed, and I didn't mention rebellion. I said their oppression. You see the difference between the two? All I mentioned was their oppression. He twisted it and said, Hajji mentioned to rebel against Yazeed and those who rebelled against Hajjaj. And then he said the statement that you should join the Imam to fight them. So he believes that Hussain radiallahu anhu should have been fought. You can't try to use technicalities now, mate. You really exposed yourself. You believe Hussain radiallahu anhu was wrong, was mistaken, and Yazeed was right. Because you used that interpretation of Ibn Qudama, which he never said, but you said, yes, you should join the Imam to fight them. So you believe Hussain radiallahu anhu deserved to be fought. And what happened in Karbala, you believe he was mistaken. And because he did khuruj, I know you believe this, mate. Let's just say it as it is. I'm not going to hide more. I'm not going to hide how I feel. You believe that what happened to Hussain radiallahu anhu was due to his khuruj. And due to his khuruj, this was the consequence. Why am I saying this? Am I being emotional? No. Because when you mentioned the Syrian revolution, you said, this is what happens when you do khuruj. And you shouldn't do khuruj because the Prophet ﷺ said, don't do khuruj. And this is what happens when you do khuruj, when you're talking about the good work that the charity does. So you were indirectly belittling them by saying, they done khuruj. So as you saw, what happens when you do khuruj, this is the result.
Inshallah, I'm going to show you the videos. There's clips they send it to us to share with our brothers and sisters. Also for us to take a listen and to remember what I've been saying, that rebellion again based upon the ahadith of the Nabi alayhi salam, it is dangerous thing for us to do, and the outcome of it is evil. Not like this Himar of Birmingham donkey while he's in Birmingham promoting, justifying, fighting, spending his time to justify that it's okay to rebel against the leaders, while our brothers and sisters dying in the sea, Muslim children dying, it's because they tried to flee from their country because of the civil war. That was the outcome of rebelling against the leaders. If you only follow the advice of the Nabi alayhi salam, wallahi, everything will be good, inshallah ta'ala. So do not rebel. Likewise, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned that if a matter of fear or matter of goodness comes to them, if they, before spreading it, if they only refer it to Allah's messenger and to the ulama, to the scholars, not to Hajji donkey, Birmingham. And again, I remind you, the reason I'm very harsh with him, because this guy's on a mission to destroy Muslim countries, to promote Khawarij from the Khawarij Qa'adiyya.
So you believe then when Hussain radiallahu anhu was killed and the Ahlul Bayt, the noble Ahlul Bayt that were killed in the plains of Karbala, you believe because it was of their khuruj, that's what happened to them. You believe that what they done was at the consequence of their khuruj. So you have no sympathy because you're that box-headed and you're that much of a slave of the ruler. You would be on Yazeed's side, mate. You would be defending Yazeed. I guarantee you, mate. I guarantee you and your likes and the super Salafis will be with Yazeed. I guarantee you, and you will be with Al-Hajjaj, and I guarantee you that you will be with Al-Ma'mun, and I guarantee you will be with Ibn Hubayra and Abu Ja'far bin Mansur and all the tyrant rulers that are oppressed. I guarantee you that you will be supporting them, because that's what your manhaj is about, defending tyrant rulers. So that's right up your alley, mate. That's right up your alley. What I'm going to do right about now is play you a small sample of his disrespect and his disregard, because in essence, because he's programmed to defend rulers, he's actually defending Yazeed. What you will hear is not me uttering these statements by just trying to point score. You will hear it from his own mouth as the video goes on. So what we'll do, let me play some videos for you where he clearly utters that Hussain radiallahu anhu made a mistake and he was mistaken. Okay, let's listen.
He said the Hajji has a proof, correct? When I asked what is the proof, he said Hussain. Then I brought another Sahaba, they did something, may Allah forgive them, and they made mistakes. And the Sahaba, they made mistakes based upon Ijtihad, Allah forgive them. Because, as Ibn Taymiyyah mentioned, scholars mentioned, some Sahaba that did rebel before, because the Ahadith was not widespread, and the books of Aqaid was not written yet, and they had Ijtihad. May Allah please with them all. And Allah taught us how to deal with their mistakes. Okay, but we follow the ahadith of Nabi alayhi salatu wassalam.
Now, as you heard, Shamsi basically disrespected Hussain radiallahu anhu by saying, okay, you know, Hajji has proof, and you say Hussain radiallahu anhu. And I brought another statement and from another Sahaba who made mistakes, but they did it because of ijtihad. So once again, you utter moron. How can you do ijtihad in matters of creed? You're an absolute fool, mate. You're an absolute idiot. Because how can the companions make ijtihad in matters of creed? Because this is creed to you and your likes, the super Salafis and the Madakhila. You don't treat this as fiqh. Because making ijtihad can only be done in matters of fiqh, the far'iyya. So once again, Shamsi, you're an absolute moron. You don't understand the words that are coming out your mouth. And then in the last video, he said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you know, taught us how to deal with their mistakes. So what he's implying is that when Hussain radiallahu anhu made khuruj, when Abdullah ibn Zubair made khuruj, and when other companions made khuruj, as well as the Salaf, they were mistaken. So meaning, when they rebelled against their ruler, tyrant or just, they were mistaken. So this video will get more and more detrimental to Shamsi as he carries on, because we're going to go into it in depth. It's going to be a lengthy video. So as you can see on screen, okay, as you can see on screen, we've got the book Kitab al-Furu', and this book is written by Ibn Muflih, and this is volume 10, okay, volume 10 by Ibn Muflih, one of the esteemed scholars of the Hanabila. So as you can see on screen, it states here, and remember this is a Hanbali scholar, so obviously he's giving you the position of the Hanabila. Okay, so remember Ibn Taymiyyah is of the Hanabila. So if there's a difference of opinion within the madhab itself, how can you claim ijma'? Because the own scholars within their own madhab are different amongst themselves. So how can you claim this ijma'? Anyway, so as you can see on screen, it states, وَالْجَوَازَ إِبْنُ الْعَقِيلِ وَإِبْنُ الْجَوْزِي الْخُرُوجِ عَلَى الْإِمَامِ غَيْرٍ عَادِلٍ. That Ibn Jawzi and Ibn Aqil, or the other way around, Ibn Aqil and Ibn Jawzi permitted rebelling against a unjust ruler or a ruler that's not just. And where did they get this from? How did they establish this? Because they can mention it, but they got to have proof, don't they? What did they mention as proof? وَذَكَرَ خُرُوجَ الْحُسَيْنِ عَلَى الْيَزِيدِ لِإِقَامَةِ الْحَقِّ. They mentioned the rebellion of Hussain. Rebellion of Hussain. Look at the words. خروج الحسين على اليزيد. The rebellion of Hussain against Yazid to do what? لإقامة الحق. To establish the truth. He was not mistaken. Hussain radiallahu anhu went to establish the truth. Leading Hanbali scholars confirm that it is permissible, first and foremost, to rebel against an unjust ruler or a ruler that's not just. And their proof was the rebellion of Hussain radiallahu anhu to do what? To establish the truth. That was the opinion of major Hanbali scholars. And it states, وَكَذَا قَالَ الْجُوَيْنِي. And likewise, Al-Juwayni, one of the major imams of the Shafi'iyah. Now don't try to use a technicality and say Al-Juwayni is Ash'ari and we don't take from Ash'ari. Remember, you do take Juwayni's Usul al-Fiqh. You understand? He's a master at Usul al-Fiqh. But anyway, إِذَا جَارَ وَظَهَرَ ظُلْمُهُ. That if he persecutes and makes apparent his oppression and they need to remove him. Juwayni is saying this, Imam al-Juwayni rahimahullah saying this. They need to remove him with what? وَلَوْ بِالْحَرْبِ وَالسِّلَاحِ. Even if it's with war and with weapons. Okay? So, and then he mentions at the bottom, as I call it, Nawawi khala'uhu gharib. And Imam Nawawi opposes this, which is not a problem. It's not a problem at all. So as you saw, Ibn al-Jawzi, Ibn Aqil, and Imam al-Juwayni all confirm that if a tyrant ruler or a ruler that persecutes, it's okay to rebel against him. Okay? And they, Ibn al-Jawzi and Ibn Aqil used as proof Hussain radiallahu anhu. Now Hussain radiallahu anhu understood the text, didn't he? He understood the ahadith of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So, what happened there? Is he mistaken? Because major imams go against you. Let's carry on. As you can see on screen, we've got the book Al-Insaf. And as you can see on screen, we've got the book Al-Insaf fi Masail Khilaf. And he mentioned the same statement, okay? وجواز ابن العقيل وابن الجوزي للخروج على الإمام الغير عادل وذكر خروج الحسين على اليزيد لإقامة الحق. And then what did he say after? وهو ظاهر كلام ابن رزين على ما تقدم. So Ibn Razin, okay, is also a scholar, and this was his apparent view as well. So Ibn al-Jawzi, Ibn Aqil, al-Juwayni, Ibn Razin, okay, all agree with me, mate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie another imam with this to show you how they viewed the khuruj of Hussain radiallahu anhu. As you can see, first of all, let me present the other statement. We've got Fath al-Bari by Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani. This is volume 15. And as you can see on screen, okay, we got a statement from Al-Ghazali. And Al-Ghazali says, regarding those that rebel are of two types. The first that rebels according to their deviant beliefs, and the second is of two types. And this is Al-Ghazali saying this. The second is either rebelling to take over and not calling to their beliefs. And they are of two types. The first rebelled angrily for their religion due to the oppression of their leaders or of the leaders, and them not acting according to the Sunnah. This category are Ahlul Haqq, the people upon the truth. So Hussain radiallahu anhu was upon the Haqq. He wasn't mistaken. And who was them? He says from them is Al-Hasan, but in the Arabic it says Al-Hasan, but it is Al-Hussain radiallahu anhu. The people of Medina during Al-Harra, I'm going to get to that as well. And the reciters that rebelled against Al-Hajjaj. As for the second group, they rebelled seeking authority only, whether they had a doubt or not, they are Bughat. And this is in Al-Fathul Bari. So, as you can see, Fathul Bari by Ibn Hajar Al-Asqalani. So Shamsi insulted Hussain radiallahu anhu. He said he made a mistake. And you notice in the first 3 clips that I brought, how loosely he said, yeah, so I bring other Sahaba and they made mistakes. So in order to defend your tyrant masters and your deviant position, you were willing to say, I brought another Sahaba and they made mistakes. Why do you need to look for the companions' mistakes? But Hussain radiallahu anhu did not make a mistake, mate. This is the point. You're so programmed and institutionalized and that dumb that you're thinking that based upon certain contemporary scholars, and all of it again is for the interest of Saudi Arabia. That's what it is. That is just to defend their interest. What we're going to do now is we're going to present a hadith in the same chapter, Bab al-Imara, to show you that if they believe, and they do, that Hussain radiallahu anhu was wrong and was mistaken, and Yazeed was right, because the statement that he did extraction of, istinbat of Ibn Qudama's statement that you fight the rebels, the transgressors, as he likes to call them. So you fight the Imam against them. You fight with the Imam against them. And he mentioned Yazeed and Al-Hajjaj. So all the Tabi'un that fought against Hajjaj, he would have been with Al-Hajjaj. And all the noble Sahaba radiallahu anhum that fought with Hussain radiallahu anhu, he wouldn't be with them, he would be with Yazeed, from his own testimony. So they constantly use the hadith, which is in Sahih Muslim, that obey the ruler, listen and obey the Muslim ruler, فَإِن دُرِبَ دَخْرُكَ فَأُخِذَ مَالَكَ فَاسْمَعْ وَأَطِعْ. That listen, obey the ruler, even if he flogs you back and takes you out. And they go, look at this, you have to obey the ruler, you have to obey the ruler, even if he flogs you back and takes you out. And they just run with it, and they just basically promote and are slaves to the rulers, etc. So what we're going to do is, we're going to present historical facts of the rebellion of Hussain radiallahu anhu and the khuruj of Hussain radiallahu anhu. And then we're going to present a hadith to say, okay then, we know Hussain radiallahu anhu did this, because this is clear testimony from the historical facts and the historical accounts. But now, what about this, this and this? So did Hussain radiallahu anhu oppose this? And if not, why not? Okay? Because it's in the same chapter of Bab al-Imara, the same chapter that you love to use. So we're going to say, well, what about this then? Once we present the historical fact. As you can see in my hand, I've got Hukbatun min al-Tarikh, the Era of History by Sheikh Uthman al-Khamis. And as you can see on screen, بلغ أهل العراق أن الحسين لم يبايع ليزيد بن معاوية. That it was, the news reached the people of Iraq that Hussain did not pledge to Yazeed bin Muawiyah, and they did not want Yazeed, but they wanted, and they did not want Muawiyah, but they wanted only Ali and his sons. And then they sent letters to Hussain radiallahu anhu, all of them saying, we will pledge to you and only you, and our necks do not have the bay'ah to Yazeed, and we will only give bay'ah to you. And it says, وتكاثرت الكتب على الحسين بن علي حتى بلغت أكثر من 500 كتاب كلها جاءته من أهل الكوفة يدعونه إليهم. And the letters were received, so much letters were received to Hussain radiallahu anhu that the letters reached over 500 letters. And all of those letters came from the people of Kufa, and they called for him. They said Hussain radiallahu anhu sent Muslim bin Aqil to assess the situation, okay, to establish the facts on the ground. Under the subheading, خروج الحسين رضي الله عنه من المكة إلى الكوفة. That Hussain left Mecca to go to Kufa. And look at what he says straight after. بعد إن استقرت الأمور وبايع كثير من الناس لمسلم بن عقيل أرسل إلى الحسين أن أقدم فإن أمر قد نهيأ. That he said, when the matter was settled and so much people gave bay'ah to Muslim bin Aqil, Muslim bin Aqil sent for Hussain radiallahu anhu to proceed because the matter is now ready. That the matter that was settled was that so many people gave bay'ah to Hussain radiallahu anhu that, and he said that the bay'ah reached over 12,000 people. Okay, so 12,000 people from Kufa gave their bay'ah and said, we pledge with our life, our souls, our wealth to defend you. And Muslim bin Aqil was sent for that reason. So Hussain radiallahu anhu sent him as a messenger and as part of a reconnaissance, just to see what the situation is on the ground. And Nu'man bin Bashir was a companion who was there at the time, and obviously allowed this uprising to begin. So Hussain radiallahu anhu got the pledge of allegiance, okay, from the people of Kufa, and he sent Muslim bin Aqil, and Muslim bin Aqil radiallahu anhu confirmed that this was now ready, the matter is settled. Hussain radiallahu anhu, come, you've got the support, this is now confirmed, we are happy with the situation, etc. This is the point I want to raise, that Yazeed was the Khalif at the time, meaning many companions gave bay'ah, like Abdullah bin Abbas radiallahu anhuma, Abdullah bin Umar radiallahu anhuma. So he was a recognized Khalif, okay? And a lot of people say, well, you know what, Hussain radiallahu anhu, was wrong. Like Shamsi, he was wrong, okay? Now, Ibn al-Jawzi answers this, subhanallah al-azim. And to be honest, if you read the quote, it's like he's speaking to Shamsi, the ignorant idiot. Okay? So as you can see on screen, it's from the same book, Kitab al-Furu'. And it says, وقال ابن الجوزي في كتابه سر المسون من الاعتقادات العامية التي غلبت على الجماعات المنتسبين إلى السنة. He says that Ibn Jawzi said in his book, السر المأسون, from the belief of the general people that التي غلبت على الجماعات, that has taken over the majority of the people who ascribe to Ahl Sunnah, and يقولوا, they say, إن يزيد كان على الصواب. It says, they say, meaning these so-called Sunnis, they say that indeed Yazeed was right, was correct. وإن الحسين أخطأ, and Hussain radiallahu anhu was wrong to rebel against Yazeed. Shamsi, you believe this, don't you? You believe Yazeed was correct, and you believe Hussain radiallahu anhu was incorrect, don't you? Come out publicly. You've already said it subliminally, which we've exposed you because what was inside your heart, you've let out. But we want you to come out openly and proclaim it. Anyway, let's carry on. وَلَوْ نَظَرُوا فِي السِّيرِ. He says, if you were to look into the biography, you would know how he was given the bay'ah, and how people were forced or how they were obliged to give it. And Yazeed committed all disgusting crimes. Because if you were to understand the reality of his khilafah, that he tore apart his aqd, his bay'ah basically, because he plundered Medina and he threw a catapult upon the Kaaba, وَقَتَلَ الْحُسَيْنِ وَأَهْلِ بَيْتِ, and he killed Hussain radiallahu anhu and the Ahl al-Bayt. Ibn al-Jawzi basically saying that Hussain radiallahu anhu was right to rebel. And the people, the ordinary people believe Hussain radiallahu anhu was wrong and Yazeed was right. No, because Ibn al-Jawzi explains that he, tore his aqd with the crimes and the evilness and the disgusting crimes that he did. But anyway, so as we're getting back on track now, that Hussain radiallahu anhu got bay'ah for himself. Okay, got bay'ah for himself. Even though there was a Khalif installed, he took bay'ah for himself. Let's now present some ahadith to see if you're really people of athar. Okay, if you're really people of athar like you claim to be. As you can see, I have Sahih Muslim. Okay, and as you can see on screen, it is narrated by Abi Sa'id al-Khudri. قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إذا بُيع لخليفتين, when an oath of allegiance has been taken for two Khalifs, kill the one that takes the oath later. This is under Kitab al-Imara, the same chapter that you use the hadith. فَإِنْ ضُرِبَ دَاخِلُ فَأُخْتَ مَالَكَ. So the Prophet ﷺ says, if two Khalifs, when the oath of allegiance has been given for two Khalifs, kill the one who the oath was taken later. So I ask you now, we believe Yazeed fasakh al-bay'ah. He tore his bay'ah with the crimes that he did. Okay? And he wasn't deserving. Okay? But we're going to get to another ahadith to show you that his bay'ah wasn't valid anyway. Okay? And the people weren't united upon him. But, so what do we ask of you? Do you take this hadith when the Prophet ﷺ says, if the bay'ah was given to two people, kill the one that was taken later? So do you believe that Hussain radiallahu anhu should have been killed? Okay? Do you believe, based upon this hadith, that Hussain radiallahu anhu should have been killed? Well, I don't believe it, obviously. And I've got my reasons to, because I don't believe Yazeed was legitimate ruler. Okay? He was forced, as Ibn al-Jawzi confirms, they forced the bay'ah Okay, they took the bay'ah. If you read Sir, okay, he's trying to educate you, you dumb, ignorant fools. What we're going to do now is we're going to top this up with more ahadith. And this is now from another book, okay? Imam al-Dahabi, rahmatullah alayhi. As you can see on screen, and we've got the book of Imam al-Dahabi, who does like a summarized version of Sunan al-Kubra of Bayhaqi. Okay, Imam al-Bayhaqi, rahimahullah. And he brings under the chapter of Kital al-Bughat wal-Khawarij, okay? And he brings a hadith from Sahih Muslim, okay? He brings a hadith from Sahih Muslim, tabarakallah. And the hadith goes as follows. Okay, this is under 12,963. This is narrated by Arfaja, okay, who said, I heard the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam say, he said that different evils will make their appearance in the near future. Anyone, listen to the words, anyone, فَمَنْ أَرَادَ, whoever wants to disrupt the affairs of the ummah while you are united, strike him with the sword, whoever he is. Okay? Strike him with the sword, whoever he is. So now I ask you, because you said you should fight with the Imam against them. So I ask you now, the Prophet ﷺ said, okay, that whoever wants to split the ranks. So would you say that Hussain radiallahu anhu was splitting the ranks? Like you say, rebelling causes more harm. So the ummah, according to you, would be united under Yazeed because you hold him to be the legitimate ruler. So as he was the ruler, Hussain radiallahu anhu rebelled and took the bay'ah for himself. So the first question is, based upon the previous hadith, does Hussain radiallahu anhu deserve to be killed because he took the bay'ah later? The Prophet ﷺ said, whoever takes it after. Yazeed was given the bay'ah before. You believe Yazeed was the legitimate ruler. I don't. And as Ibn al-Jawzi confirms. Now I ask you this question. Were the ummah united upon Yazeed? Yes or no? Were they united upon Yazeed? If you say yes, then I say, and I will respond, okay then. Was Hussain radiallahu anhu trying to disrupt the affairs of the ummah while they were united? So if that's the case, and you say yes, they were united upon Yazeed because he was the legitimate ruler, okay, then according to the Prophet ﷺ, Hussain radiallahu anhu deserved to be killed. So, astaghfirullah al-azim, I don't hold his belief. We don't believe that they were united upon Yazeed. Hence why Hussain radiallahu anhu was well within his right to rebel against Yazeed. And he had the manpower with his ta'wil and his ijtihad. He didn't rebel based upon spoons and like you don't rebel with spoons. He had manpower. He had 12,000 men give bay'ah. So he, based on his ijtihad, thought, yeah, I've got the ability. I'm going to go and rebel against Yazeed. No problem. I don't see that as a problem at all. And he was upon the haqq. Yazeed didn't deserve it. All the things were in Hussain radiallahu anhu's favour. Not Yazeed. You, on your previous video, said you should fight with the Imam against them. So you believe Hussain radiallahu anhu was wrong and he deserved to be fought. So based on this hadith, what I'm saying, kill him, فَضْرِبُوهُ بِالسَّيْفِ كَائِنَ مَنْ كَانَ. What happened to him in Karbala, according to you then, based on this hadith, if you would use this hadith to prove it for you, you would say, okay, then Hussain radiallahu anhu, what happened to him, what Ubaidullah bin Ziyad did, what Shimr bin the Jawshan did, was perfectly acceptable. Hasha lillah, we don't believe this. But according to your filthy methodology, you do. If you use to hold that view that you can't rebel, then what about this one then, in the same chapter? So do you believe Hussain radiallahu anhu deserved to be killed? Because the Prophet ﷺ said, فَضْرِبُوهُ بِالسَّيْفِ كَائِنَ مَنْ كَانَ, whoever he may be. So you believe this, don't you? And then obviously the second one's very, very similar to it. And it's narrated by the same narrator, Arfaja. He says, قال سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول من أتاكم وأمركم جميع على رجل واحد يريد أن يشق عصاكم أو يفرق جماعتكم فاقتلوه. The same narrator says, I heard the Prophet ﷺ say, when you are holding on to a single man, whoever comes to you, and your matters are under one man, and you're united, and someone comes to divide your solidarity and cause a split in your ranks, kill him. Okay, kill him. So, I ask you now, why doesn't this apply in Hussain radiallahu anhu according to your belief? You're going to be waving now, aren't you? You're going to be moving from this pillar to that post now, aren't you? You're going to say, oh no, no, no. Why not? You already confirmed what was in your heart when you said you should fight with the Imam against them, and you mentioned Yazeed and Hajjaj. So it shows you approve oppression, mate. You don't even side with noble companions to defend your filthy, toxic, poisonous methodology. I'm going to end off now, okay? I'm going to end off now with a statement from Ibn Qudama al-Maqdisi. And as you can see on screen, you got al-Mughni. And then Ibn Qudama brings a statement. وَمَنْ خَرَجَ عَلَى أُمَّتي وَهُمْ جَمِيعٌ فَاضْرِبُوا عُنُقَهُ بِسَيْفِ كَائِنًا مَنْ كَانَ. And then Ibn Qudama says, and brings that particular narration. I think it's in At-Tabarani. It doesn't say, but I think it's in At-Tabarani. So, as we just presented again, so once again, it's clear to see that these individuals defend religious oppression. These individuals defend oppression to the point that they would even legitimize such tyrants that the Ummah agree upon their tyranny. We're going to get to the Battle of Harra in another video. Okay, we're going to present what happened and who was involved, etc. We're going to make that separate because we don't want to obviously go off track. So, once again, it's just beggars believe how far they go to defend oppression. It's just inconceivable that one can make such statements. And he is madkhali taqiyya. It's taqiyya. This is clear taqiyya. He believes Hussain radhiyallahu anhu was wrong and Yazeed was right. He would argue, no, we don't agree with the killing. But the point is, you would then, as you did with the Syrian people, you belittle them in your charity video that they shouldn't have done khuruj. Well then, you believe the same thing with Hussain radhiyallahu anhu. I know you believe it, mate. I know you believe Hussain radhiyallahu anhu was wrong to do khuruj against Yazeed, and Yazeed was right because he was the ruler. And you believe that because he's the ruler, anyone that did khuruj against him, they met the fate that they did. And I know this, mate. So you could obviously defend it all you want. What was inside the depth of your heart, you know what I mean? From the depth of your heart, it came out. And it's shocking to see that you would even go to those lengths. But nevertheless, it is what it is. So, inshallah, many more videos to come. Someone has to expose these frauds. Someone has to expose these charlatans. And don't worry, Da'wah, man, you're next as well. I got a video coming against you as well, mate. Because you made blunders. Well, I've just been busy doing other things. Literally speaking, mate, you made another cock up. So, you must be scratching your head thinking, what cock up did I make? Exactly. Because you're such a fool. You don't even know what mistakes you made. But your game's up. Every single one of you. I'm watching your videos. And I will show you through texts, through books, through kalam of the ulama, that you keep asking us to refer to the ulama. We are referring to the ulama. How much quotes of the scholars have I brought? So again, just because you're, invested in contemporary scholars who have, I wouldn't say ulterior motives, but their, allegiances are a bit scarce. And our Visiting the Rulers video will explain, how the Salaf dealt with this matter. And that will be coming soon. So take care of yourselves, make dua for me. Wa sallallahu ala nabiyyina Muhammad.
كم مرة عصف الأنين بداخلي كم مرة قد ذاق قلبي من أساه محن تمر وكم كرهت مصابها لكن رأيت الخير يسكب في أنا كم مرة قد ضقت من عظام البلاء بشر وشيطان يحاصرني أمام كم مرة قد أظلم الدرب ضحى وتحدر الدمع وضاقت بي رؤى كم مرة عصف الأنين بداخلي كم مرة قد ذاق قلبي من أساه محن تمر وكم كرهت مصابها لكن رأيت الخير يسكب في أنا كم مرة قد